This is my demo for the application that I wrote, the Salesforce.com Chatter Developer Challenge. Now the app is a Chatter client running on a Google Android mobile handset. It's a combination of the Force.com platform, Google App Engine, and the Android platform, and uses OAuth for security. Now I'm going to demo the application first and then talk about the development process and the technologies afterwards. So for the purpose of the demo, I'm actually running the app from the Android emulator so it's easier to see. Now, I got the idea for the Chatter for Android client shortly before attending Google I/O when they sent me a free Droid, but I actually didn't get started developing the app until shortly after I/O. I think it took me probably about a week to 10 days to put this together. Okay, so let's get started. So here is my Android emulator, and here is my Chatter for Android icon on the desktop right here. Let me click that to get started. Now the application starts up and it goes out and refreshes my Chatter feeds. It's going to grab my user's news feed and pull that in, and then it's also going to refresh the feed from a custom object called projects. So our PS Enterprise product manages our customers, projects, people, and financials, and I'm using some integrations to this custom object called projects to show how we could do that from an Android client. So let's go ahead and look at the news feed I have here. So let me pull up Salesforce also, we can compare these side by side. Let me do this here, refresh and get the full feed here. Alright, so here is the whole client. Alright, so here we go. Here's my news feed right here. So you can see they match on this side over here. So this is actually a user status update, and this is a project update, and I've actually changed a field on the project. I changed the status from probably red to yellow. Here is another project update, and here's a user update, and then another project update. Okay, so one of the things we want to do in Chatter is update our status. So let's go ahead and update the status here. So I'm going to hit update status, and I'm going to put something like updating my user status from Android. Alright, so there's my status here. And so now let me go ahead and refresh here. Alright, so there you can see my new status. The same here. Alright, so now let me go ahead and update the status in Salesforce. We can see that here too. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and update that status. There we go. So let me go ahead and now go ahead and refresh my news feed here. There we go. So there's updating my user status from the Salesforce UI. So you can see that they both are the same here. So one thing that we do also at Appear is we manage a lot of projects. So I have a number of projects, as you can see over here, that I'm following. So I want to see the status of these projects and follow them. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the project button here, and here's all the ones that I'm following in Salesforce. So let me look at the Salesforce.com rollout. So here's the feed for this project. Alright, so you can see I've got a couple of updates to the fields and a bunch of status updates, so you can see it through here. Alright, so the same thing as user feed, I want to do this for this project. I want to go ahead and update the status. So if I'm a project manager, I might say, I want to check and see, our, let's say all time cards are in, and we'll do something from Android or something. Android, okay, so now we'll share this. And while that's doing that, let's go over here and look at this project. And there we go. So now you can see that the status has been changed. So there's all time cards are in and all time cards are in. So there's that status has been updated for that project. So we want to do the same thing here. We want to say we want to do Salesforce and share that. So at the same time, I want to go back over to my Android device, and I want to refresh this feed. So you can see that the project is going great. So that's how we can integrate Salesforce and Chatter on an Android device. So now I kind of want to talk about the process that I used to develop this and the technologies also. So that's the Chatter for Android application. Now let's take a quick look at how it's architected and some of the technologies involved. Now, since Chatter is a private model, we need to be concerned about who has access to our feeds. Unfortunately, Android doesn't play well with SOAP web services, so we have problems calling the Force.com web services API natively from Android. However, JSON support in Android is a breeze. So here's what I came up with. So I use Google App Engine to tie all these applications together and provide a coherent security model. So I wrote a small App Engine app that uses OAuth to authorize access to Force.com and my chatter feeds using a Force.com remote access application. Now, once authorized, the Force.com web services connector running on App Engine performs interactions with Salesforce, such as submitting new status updates, fetching my feed, and then displaying them as JSON objects. Now, fortunately, App Engine recently started supporting OAuth with Google accounts, so I thought I'd try to hook that up since OAuth is already supported natively on the Android platform. However, due to the deadline for the developer challenge, I wasn't able to finish it up in time. So here's what I have so far. So how to work on the devices: you would initially load up the application and you would receive a message saying that this device has not been authorized to access your chatter feeds. So you would actually select the menu, hit the authorize button, and you would request token and go through the whole OAuth dance of exchanging tokens and authorizing the application. So that's the part I'm working on now. So this part right here is not quite working yet. The OAuth between the Android client and App Engine is not working. So here's how everything works right now. So I have this App Engine app running, and it does all of the lifting for me for doing the integration with Salesforce and converting everything to JSON objects for me and the security. So right now it's fetching a list of news feeds, and then it actually converts those easily into a JSON object that the Android client can consume. And then it's same thing for the project feeds. So how that works is I have an OAuth token that's stored in App Engine on Bigtable, and I'm going to delete this token and we can kind of look and see how that process works of authorizing an application against Force.com remote applications. So now if I hit refresh, you'll see a message that this application has not been authorized for Salesforce. So we're going to go ahead and log into Salesforce. Since I'm already in the developer org, I'm going to take me in, since I'm already authenticated, and take me to the remote access application page where I see the name of my application, I see my icon, and then I see a little description about the application. So now I can either approve the request to authorize the application to get my data, or I can deny it. So now I'm going to approve it. Now it's going to take me back to App Engine, store my tokens for later use, and allow me to go ahead and get my news feeds. So that's my application that I wrote, the Force.com application for viewing your chatter feeds on an Android client. Now, if you have any questions, drop me a line either on the Apiro Tech blog or my personal blog.